Welcome to the podcast, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, I'm so excited to have a wonderful guest with me today. Having her back on the podcast, Courtney Dawson is here. She is an evidential medium. She's internationally recognized, known for her accurate, heart centered spirit messages and deep commitment to ethical, spirit led conversation. Courtney, I'm so excited to have you here today. Welcome.
Thanks, Jeanette. So good to be here.
Yeah. You know, I have to say too, what I love um, with your intro too is the word ethical.
Mm,
I just want to start there. I
mm,
want to start at that because I think there's so much to be said for mediumship
yeah.
and it's becoming so much more well known and talked about, which is wonderful. But as always, as that happens, there's also so many more people that are taking the opportunity to claim mediumship capacity and completely distort it and ruin it. And so I love that you have this deep commitment to ethical mediumship. So, in your mind, what does that look like? Like, what is ethical mediumship to you?
Ethical mediumship, I believe, is first off remembering what it's actually about. And it is, for me, coming from a place of deep service to the world of spirit, to humanity, and to use my abilities not for, personal gain. Yes, I have a spiritual business, but even if I didn't have this as a business, I would still do it for the love of spirit to be that bridge, that gap between the two worlds. And to be an ethical medium for me is first off to start from that place of why are you doing it? Is it to make a lot of money? That's not my inspiration at all or motivation, but it's to be a voice for the voiceless, to help remove the fear of death and to bring through communication that inspires the living. And so, not only through my evidential mediumship readings, but how I show up in the online space, how I show up on my podcast, how I show up in interviews like this one that I'm having with you, and speaking from a place of integrity and wanting to make sure that I represent those in the spirit world with grace, with truth, and to not promote any falsehoods about what mediumship is or is not, and to make sure that the way that I'm conducting myself for the way that it impacts the world of spirit, for the way that it impacts my clients, those that are listening or watching me on whatever platform, they are left in a better place than when they first started.
Mhm. It's really not about taking advantage,
Not
right?
at
And
all.
I think it was you that had posted the other day this video of a man talking about this experience of this woman who, the medium gave her a whole bunch of, dark information about their loved one and then that they were lost and stuck. And if they wanted them saved, they needed to spend another $500 in order to save their loved one, and I think that is just such a shame. It is just so heartbreaking because what mediumship can do for people can be so beautiful and life changing.
Absolutely. That wasn't my video, but I
Oh, that
seen the
wasn't
same.
yours?
No, but I seen the
Oh,
same one.
okay.
And I was gonna I'll just say that my stomach turned a little bit. And it really disturbed me because there are people out there that claim to be evidential mediums or psychic mediums or empathic mediums, whatever label,
Yeah.
that they're actually channeling souls from the other world. And they used fear-based tactics, words, all of that to really extort money from people.
Mhm.
That is not what the spirit world wants. That is not what the spirit world is about. And as an ethical medium, we have to be more vocal about the work that we do, about the purpose of mediumship, what the spirit world really wants to convey to those that are here in the world. I think more now than ever, we have to increase our visibility and really start, I want to say, not so much pointing that stuff out, but representing what it actually is. So that light can then, can I say, be more dominant than some of that nonsense that's out there. So then when people are listening to podcasts, reading magazines, going on YouTube, they're on their socials, they can go, oh, wait a minute. there's such a contrast between what this individual is doing over here versus what this one is doing. And this one makes me feel more peaceful, grounded, more connected with my loved ones in the spirit world.
Mhm.
Okay. And then our soul, our true nature, which is spirit, which is eternal, which is love, recognizes that energy and goes, okay, this is what I need to be looking for. Whether it's even booking a reading with that medium, they just know, okay, there are other ways that spirits, that mediums can communicate that doesn't leave you, can I say, completely dysregulated and full of fear.
Mhm. Absolutely. And okay, my next question before we dive into our topic today, which is going to be
Yeah.
about connecting with loved ones over the holidays. Um, I saw that you have spent some time at Arthur Findlay College.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for those of you that don't know about Arthur Findlay College, it's kind of like, to me, in my mind, it makes me think of almost like the Hogwarts for mediums
Mm-hmm.
in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just curious, how was your experience there?
So I've gone a couple times and it was incredible. So you go for a week. And the first time I went with a girlfriend, a fellow medium, and we made it like a 2.5 week trip to England. And we went there, and they're really long days. They're not a 2 hour course. You are up crack of the dawn having breakfast, and you're putting in 12-hour days. So you're getting a lot of training. It's good. I like it. Now, there's a variety of tutors that will work your course. You'll have your main tutor and then sub tutors, and there will be a topic, right? So the topic that I went to attend, and I did attend, was with Eileen Davies. She's an incredible British medium, but she lives in Aberdeen, Scotland.
Yes,
Shout out to Eileen. I love her so much. I've done private mentorship with her. She's incredible.
I've seen her
She,
speak.
yeah, she's
Yeah.
just the creme de la creme in my books. I love her as a human, even outside of her mediumship. She's just a gift to the world. And so we looked at evidential mediumship, we did trance mediumship. Um, in one of the specialty groups, we did healing. It was incredible. And one of the things that I really liked is the tutors do a demonstration of mediumship. There's a big night in the sanctuary. So they are, um, the sanctuary is just like a church sanctuary, right? It is beautiful. There's the brick walls, there's stained glass windows, the presence of spirit. You can feel it in the atmosphere. It's thick, it's just gorgeous. And there's a bunch of chairs on one side down the aisle, another, and then there's that center aisle, and the tutors come and they have music just going to raise the vibration.
Mhm.
And they each do a demonstration of mediumship, and it's impressive. It's impressive. Now, for those that haven't been there, British mediumship is different than what you'll see in Canada and America. And because Arthur Findlay College is run by the SNU, the Spiritualist National Union, they have very strict protocols about what's acceptable for platform decorum, how you are allowed to be on the platform. Like, not anybody can just go up there and start giving messages. They don't allow that. So they're strict. I understand that. Maybe they're a little too strict. I don't know, but they're strict. But the mediumship is pretty incredible, pretty incredible. And you are in classes. There's a lot of people. Like you can have 80 people in a class, but
Wow.
somehow you all feel connected to these individuals. You're working, you're reading, you're having breakfast, lunch, dinner, socializing afterwards. There's this sense of community, but you can feel the presence of spirit.
Mhm.
And the first time I went there, it was incredible. I didn't even want to leave. And the the training that you get there is intensive because there's long days. You're fully immersed in it. And I think because of all the power and the energy in that location, you are able to tap into that and you realize, wow, the potential of your abilities. You
Mhm.
might thought you were at this level here, but being in that space and just having that mentorship, it really does elevate your mediumship. And the
Yeah.
first time that I went there, it was like this veil was removed from my energy, my eyes, my understanding, my consciousness. And when I came back, I was not the same person. I reevaluated my position in the spiritualist church. I reevaluated the direction of my work with spirit. I reevaluated and made shifts in how I ran my business, all for the better,
Mhm.
FYI. I wouldn't say it wasn't that I was doing anything wrong, but there was such a shift in me that my world needed to catch up and shift and change. And then the second time that I went by myself And I stayed for a little bit first with my husband's cousin. And then I had another girlfriend meet me there from America. And I had a great time. I was so sick, by the way. I didn't even realize how sick I was until I saw a private doctor when I got to England. Oh my God. But the spirit world, they gave me the healing energy that I needed. And it was a really incredible week. And I want to share this message because
Yeah.
one of the messages I got, it was so cool. So I was pretty fatigued. I was on serious heavy duty antibiotics. I had a gut infection from antibiotics that caused it. It was a
Oh,
whole thing.
shoot. Yeah.
And didn't know that till I got to England. So I was pretty fatigued, but the energy of the atmosphere kept me going. Anyways, I was working with this medium who's an incredible guy, and he's giving me a message. We're blindfolded. And he brings through this communicator, this female, describes her. She's a friend of your sister's, and your sister's name's Natalie. How the hell would he know that? He wouldn't. I
Hmm.
was like, oh my God, he gave all this specific information. And I wrote it down. Some of it I had to verify afterwards, but it all matched up. And then I sat down, and when I got back to my room in between breaks, I called my mom. She's like, you got to tell your sister. FYI, everybody, my parents are born again Christians. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So that is like a big thing to be talking about dead people giving messages. They're
Yeah.
not dead, they don't have bodies. That's what I say, but they think they're dead.
Hmm.
And so I got on a three-way call with my sister and I gave her the message about what her friend said. She's like, "Oh my God, Courtney, you won't believe this." What? She gives me all this information. It basically validated the message that this complete stranger from America who's in England gave.
Yes.
And she was just so changed from that. And then um, I end up talking to my sister and I could feel a shift in the energy. I was just sitting on my bed. Next thing you know, her friend comes in. I can hear this woman laughing in my ear. FYI, I only knew who the friend was, like by her name. I don't know her.
Hmm.
And I could hear this cackle. And next thing you know, she's like, I need to talk to your sister. This woman wouldn't leave me alone. I thought, oh, well, I'm at Arthur Finley. Of course, there's going to be spirits everywhere. So let's just
Yes.
deal with it. So I shared the message. I said, Natalie, she's telling me that you're wearing her pants and that you never gave them back. And she's like, you tell her she said I could have those pants. She was wearing the pants.
Oh my
And then
goodness.
she brought through a bunch of other evidence about her children, etc., stuff that I didn't know. And it was wild. And those messages had such an impact on my own family. So when you open yourself up to the world of spirit, especially when you're going to a place like AFC,
Hmm.
it shifts you, but it has this ripple effect on how it can impact other people. I've had countless experiences. I'll share one more because this
Hmm.
is amazing. So I've dealt with chronic pain for 10 years post car accident. And the first time I went to AFC, my friend and I, we were doing tons of traveling all over England, going to Harry Edwards Healing Sanctuary. This place was incredible. And one of the specialty groups I participated in was trance healing. Now I've done trance work, but I wanted to do the healing. So we're sitting in they call it the large room. There's 20 people, massive circle. Nobody's close to anybody. And the tutor, Simone Key, who's incredible, love her. She's actually done some teaching for my school. She's like, who needs healing today? Now I was having a big pain flare up. Everyone's kind of timid. I said, me, please. So I sat in the middle of that massive circle. There's nobody. They had to be at least, I don't know, 10 feet away, nobody close. And I'm sitting in the middle of this circle. Simone starts to go into the trance states. You can feel the energy shift. You're like, whoa, okay. She's like, just close your eyes. I'll let you know when I'm done. So she goes into the trance states, and I'm sitting there. And within a moment, I don't know, maybe a minute or two, if that, I start feeling hands all over my body. Hands, like somebody touching me. There should be nobody around. I open my eyes. There's nobody close. So then I knew it was spirit. So I closed my eyes, and there was four hands, not two. So I closed my eyes, and I could feel them touching me everywhere I hurt in my body. And the healing maybe lasted like 7 minutes or something, like not very long. And she's like, okay, we're done. And as the healing was going, I was weeping. I don't even know what I was weeping from. I think it was just the power and the presence of the spirit. And from that moment on, my pain was gone and I didn't
Wow.
have any more pain for the rest of that trip.
That's amazing. So
Mm-hmm.
powerful.
Mm-hmm. To actually feel spirits
Yes.
touching you, like how I'm touching my hand, it was
Hmm.
exactly the same way.
That's amazing.
I know, so
Oh
cool.
my
I've got
gosh.
like thousands of stories about that place.
Oh,
So
I'm
good.
sure. I'm sure you do. I would love to get there one day. That's so cool. And I really like how you mentioned that it really brought in like the messages were also this ripple effect into family
Mm,
because that ties into what we're going to talk about today,
yeah.
which is about, you know, the holiday season can be really challenging for people sometimes,
Yeah.
especially with grief and loss. And I think it's so important to talk about the ways in which spirit does still connect with us through the holidays and how we can connect with them and uh and so let's kind of just start there. I would love to know what is your perspective from the many, many readings you've done? And um, what is your perspective about how spirit views holidays, like let's say Christmas? How do they view that now when they're not here physically anymore? What have you learned?
I've learned that they celebrate when we celebrate. It's not so much limited to a specific day. And so they recognize the symbolism, the sentiment behind holidays, whether that's Christmas or any other holiday, and how it invokes memories and emotions, and they want to partake in that. They do. So, our loved ones who are no longer here in physical form, they're in a non physical state, energy, that presence can transcend time and space and still be with us in those moments where we are wanting to experience joy and maybe struggling with grief, where we're having the remembrance of conversations and memories made with them. They're still there,
Hmm.
and they look at the holidays as an opportunity to come closer because our hearts are longing for that connection. Now, do I think that the holidays are the only time that they really come close? No, I think they're always there, but it is that desire and that deeper longing in those moments of time, especially with the holidays, that they make more effort to make their presence known just for that reassurance that their love for us continues, that bond, it hasn't changed, and they're still very much a part of our life.
Hmm. That's beautiful. How have you noticed that some spirits like to either show themselves or be involved? Because I remember actually this has happened a couple times where I've had a spirit say, you know, this Christmas, put a plate out for me. When you set the table, set a space for me also. Like I will be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many different ways that we can remember our loved ones in the spirit world, and it doesn't have to be significant. There are so many occurrences when I've given readings where spirit goes, I know that you did this. I saw you do this in honor of me. And they're so happy. It's not the act per se, but it's the acknowledgement of their love for
Mhm.
their departed loved one, right? That's what brings the spirit world closer, is that love vibration, which is the same vibration we need to be in as mediums and able to have that communication between the two worlds. So there's lots of different ways that we can connect to our loved ones that are really simple and don't have to be elaborate, but are very, very powerful in our healing and our connection with our loved ones. So even just having a photo of them out on display, that might sound simple, but a lot of clients, Jeanette, that come to me, they are in such deep grief. They can't even have a photo out of their loved one because their emotions are so raw and they're not healed. So, doing that, having a photo out on display, looking at it, pausing, hello, I love you, having that acknowledgement and just opening up the lines of communication brings their presence closer.
Yeah.
Another way that we can connect to our loved ones is I love candles because the light actually represents the light of spirit. It's never extinguished. So having that candle, even a candle that's dedicated in honor of them, and I did that for my daughter for years. There was a candle that had different layers. It was color, and every year on her birthday, I would burn it, and there was a little gem inside of it that I put in her baby book. And that was such a beautiful way to honor her, and that's how I felt closer to her in some of those moments. But our loved ones are letting us know all the time that they are around through different TV shows that come on randomly.
Yes. Yes.
especially with the holiday season. Like, I'm scrolling through my TV and there's a show that pops up. I'm not even looking for it. And it's Home Alone. That is one of my childhood memories that we used to sit and watch, right? And it brings back memories of my dad. And I go, thank you, Dad. I'm so glad you're here. Just that pause, they can influence you to scan a channel and a show pops up. Can't listen to the radio right now without different Christmas tunes coming on. You might be scanning the channel and then a song of theirs comes up, right?
Yeah.
And it will keep repeating, repeating, and repeating. And I'll give an example because I think this is relatable. My dad passed a year ago, and one of his favorite songs, if not favorite, was Fishing in the Dark from Nitty Gritty to Dirt Band,
Yeah.
right? Old
Yeah.
school, loved it.
Totally.
And one day, within maybe 2 hours, my husband and I were out and about and we're just doing some shopping, etc. And every time we came in the car, that song is playing. Now, you think, oh, well, Courtney, you would notice that the first or second time. You're a medium. When you're busy, sometimes you don't notice that. It was the third time I said to my husband, this is the third time it's come on. That is my dad.
Yeah.
And I said, Dad, thanks for being here. And it was all around the anniversary of his departure, FYI.
That's
So
interesting.
our loved ones can do that, repeating songs, right?
Yeah.
There can, TV turns on and off by itself, lights can flicker.
Yeah.
You find random coins in your shoe. I mean, in Canada, we don't even have pennies anymore. So you might find a random penny somewhere, and people go, well, that's not unusual. I actually don't. I walk my dog all the time. I don't on trails and downtown. I don't actually see cash anymore.
No. No.
So most people are cashless. So to find that, and when you have that remembrance of a loved one or the thought that comes into mind of them, that is their way of communicating, saying, I'm here. So the way that we can recognize the signs is to slow ourselves down enough to actually witness them.
Mm.
Society's got us all hyped up on caffeine and energy drinks, and we got to be fast, fast, fast. And Spirit says, slow down, sit
Mhm.
with me for a moment.
Yes.
Let's be together. And the holidays are the perfect time to do that.
Yeah, that's so true. And it is really about slowing down for sure. But the beautiful thing is spirit, they'll keep showing the signs. They'll
Yep.
keep repeating them until we actually catch on. I swear sometimes they must be like, oh my God, she missed it again. but but they keep trying. They keep trying.
Thank
Um,
goodness they do. Thank goodness they do.
yeah, right? It's so true. So I have a question for you. From my experience, well, it's like you've been saying, like spirit loves when we talk about them, right? When we keep their memory alive. What about for those though that have certain religious practices or cultural practices where it's taboo to talk about the person, right? And maybe they're feeling a lot of grief and struggle in not being able to express and talk about it. Like, what have you noticed with the spirit world in those kinds of situations? Do they still want to be talked about anyways? Does that
They
like
they do.
counteract?
No, because spirit is not confined to religion, doctrine, dogma, or creed. Those are all man-made.
Hmm.
Now, granted, there can be some beautiful practices and teachings, there can be in some, that really support people. But yet, many of them are, how do I say this? There can be an element of control, and spirit is limitless and doesn't want us to be in that state of control. So they will still honor your religion, but they go, but wait a minute, that religion might be for your human, but your soul already recognizes this communication because you're a soul incarnate. You're a soul having a human experience. So you can still honor that communication. You can still honor that longing without compromising your faith because it's not, let me put it this way, spirit communication is not a religious thing. It's not even a spiritual practice, if I'm going to be honest about it,
Hmm.
because we are spirit.
Yeah.
Like if we normalize it, it's just like how you and I can talk. Well, why can't we talk to those that are in non-physical form?
Yeah,
It just
exactly.
it doesn't make sense to me. And for spirit, they've never so far, knock on wood, they've never said, okay, you can't talk to me because that compromises your faith. They go, but no, wait, look, your faith may serve you in this area, but let's share with you what communication and that continued connection actually means, what it looks like, and how it actually supports you in your human and your spiritual existence.
Yeah.
Spirit is beautiful. They don't force their will upon you. They honor your free will, but they, just like the galactics that you channel, they bring through information to raise our consciousness so that we're in a state of awareness and we're no longer allowing ourselves to be controlled by something that is man made.
Hmm. That's so true. So, what about with people then that, say they're getting into the holiday energy and they're trying to put their best foot forward in their grief, but they're feeling like their loved one doesn't hear them or they can't get their attention or like what suggestions do you have for people that are like, I just can't feel them, I don't see them, they're not here? And what do you suggest for that?
Sometimes grief, very often grief, is a dense energy. It is heavy. And what that does is it affects our vibration and our spiritual awareness. And in simple terms, you have an energy field that surrounds you, your auric field. And the more stressed or tense or in the deeper state of grief you are, your awareness is very close to your body. So your loved one may be trying to give you signs, but because you're in that, and I want to say this with all due respect, it's not a blame thing or anything, it's just a vibrational thing.
Yeah.
Is that when our vibration is lower, because we have real life experiences and grief is one of them and it sucks. It can make it harder for us to feel the presence of the spirit. So, number 1, honor your grief, right? Honor it, try to work through it. But the next thing is, please don't put limits on how the spirit world can bring a sign to you. Some people think it's going to be literal. Mom, dad, sister, child, husband, bring me a feather. And they're thinking it might be a literal feather.
Hmm.
But how the other world may bring it through might be very, very different. Maybe you're walking and there's somebody who has a big feather screen printed on their t shirt, like almost like a billboard, and it catches your attention.
Yeah.
Maybe you are on social media scrolling your phone. There's a big piece of artwork or something that catches your attention, and the feather stands out. It is very subtle how the spirit world connects with us. It is not like how it's depicted in Hollywood. And I think that's where having this conversation is important. They're very subtle. So be open to how the sign can come. And the second thing, give yourself a moment or two just to sit in the stillness and the quiet. It's not always instantaneous, the communication that comes through. So if you can slow down, even if you're just in some comfy cozies, make sure your phones are turned off, don't be disturbed. Okay, sit on your couch, wrap yourself in a blanket, just get cozy. The more relaxed you are, the easier it is for you to feel the presence of your loved one. Notice your breath for just maybe 3 or 4 inhales and exhales. Let your mind just kind of move to this neutral, passive state. And then just send a thought out to your loved one, whoever you want to hear from. Just say, I'm here. I would love for you to come close. And then just begin to witness, begin to notice any changes. Again, they might be subtle, might be a change in your heart rate. You might notice temperature changes. Memories start to flood. Those are
Mhm.
different ways of them saying, hey, I got the message. I'm here. I love you. Those would be some tips to get started.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's lots of helpful ways. Now, do you find that the holidays, like not just Halloween, but like Christmas and other holidays tend to have like more magic, more energy to it that
Mhm.
makes communication easier?
I do think so. And I think it's because there is more love that people are tapping into at this time of year. So that love vibration, I believe, and I'm of the belief that that love vibration is at the same vibration that the spirit world operates at. So if we're tapping into that by focusing on gratitude, appreciation, showing generosity to those that may be in lack or going through a challenging time, letting people know how much we care and love for them through words, through messages, through acts of, generosity, kindness, etc., that raises our vibration and we're able to feel them more because we're beginning them, pardon me, to operate in the same frequency they're at. So then it's way easier for us to notice, oh my goodness, that really is my loved one, versus I'm not sure if that's me, my imagination, or a sign from spirit.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I agree too. I definitely feel that uptick of energy and you're right, it does raise it into that energy of love, which is the energy of the spirit world. So we
Yeah.
might perceive a thinner veil, but it's just frequency, right? So I think that's really neat. Now, a question I really want to ask you is how have you noticed or how has the spirit world described to you the way that they see us? So like during holidays, how do they see us or how are they around? Like, are they around from your perspective, like we would see someone actually milling around in our space, or are they like top down view? Like, how does spirit show you their perception of us when you tune in?
So when I connect to the spirit world, they always show it from their perspective, almost as if I'm seeing it through their eyes.
Hmm.
And so I see them there in the space. But what's interesting is that I've been shown them being in multiple spaces at the same time.
Yes.
So they may be, for example, with you, but yet they're with another one of your loved ones at the same time. And I'm going to give an example of this because how would that work? Well, I actually experienced it with my dad's father. So I have a cousin who lives in California. She does paranormal investigations. She's incredible human, love her. And we're very open about connections with the spirit world. Well, I was in my office and all I could smell was like smoke, like a cigar smoke. It was strong. So did she. She phoned me and said, Courtney, can you smell that? And I said, smell the cigar smoke? She goes, yeah. We both tuned in. Yep, it was my dad's dad. We're in different
Right.
countries. She's in
Yeah.
California. I'm in British Columbia.
Yeah.
So that was him just saying, hey, I'm here. And that was a way that we were able to just begin having some conversations about him. And then he started showing up in our lives in different ways, giving us signs. So they can do that. But I see them from not a physical sense, but I see their energy, their awareness in the place, in the space with their loved one. But they're not just like glued to them. It's almost as if, like in their non physical form, that they're able to view everything, like zoom in and they're with them, but they stay zoomed out as far as having the awareness of other locations and other people in this space. People go, well, how
Mhm.
does that make sense? I can only explain it the way that I've experienced it. And sometimes
Yeah.
the words limited, but they're able to be very present with you, their loved one, but yet their awareness is able to be conscious and present with other individuals simultaneously
Yeah.
because they're not limited by physical form. And we know that energy and consciousness cannot be contained,
Yeah.
it's limitless.
It is. It truly is. And that's a
Yeah.
beautiful description. How about how do you find spirits explain when they actually will like touch somebody? How does that work, right? Like when, for example, when you had your healing experience at
Mhm.
Arthur Finley, or when people have felt like I felt my dad's hand on my back or whatnot, how does that energetically work if they're not embodied?
So there's a shift in vibration. We can see this in mediums that produce ectoplasm, where that energy will couple with the spirit person. So physical medium would produce the physical, well, it can be physical, but the ectoplasm that blends with the spirit communicator, and they can basically harness that energy to present themselves in physical form or to create any kind of physical manifestation, including levitation. So there's that aspect. But if we're feeling our loved ones, my understanding at this moment, again, I always say, based on my experience, is that the spirit world are able to harness their energy, and it takes effort on their part to make their presence known. So they adjust their frequency so it's more almost denser in a sense. It's kind of like materialization is I guess is a good way of saying it. So that the vibration is more denser, so our human energy and our physicality can actually pick up on it, can
Mhm.
recognize it, right? So they have to do a lot of work in order to make that happen. Now, does that happen all of the time? No, because we also have to be in a receptive state in order to perceive that. So it doesn't mean that our loved ones don't touch us. We just might not be either at a match in vibration. We may not be in a state of awareness, meaning we're calm and relaxed. But also, too, even if they don't touch us, noticing like a temperature change or a gust of wind, that can be them moving the energy to catch our awareness. I've had that happen in my home. I've seen that when I've sat in development circle. We actually just had that a couple days ago. One of my circles I was teaching, all of us just got cold to the bone. So notice things like that. That can be them interacting with the physical environment.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. I've had it explained similar as well. So I definitely agree with that. Okay, I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
One more specific question is how have you noticed when somebody has lost somebody and it's the holidays and the human that's still here is grieving, how have you noticed the spirit world grieves? Because obviously there is a missing of the union or the partnership, right? But how have you had the spirit describe their perspective of the loss? Because a human is feeling the grief so much.
Mhm.
What is the perspective from spirit in that state?
They don't grieve the same way that we do. They don't. And people go, well, how is that not possible? Don't they love me? Don't they miss me? Yes and no. And so I want to unpack that just for a minute. They don't grieve like humans do because they're no longer in human form, and their consciousness now has the awareness that they are limitless and that connection between you and them still exists. So they know that through working with energy, through being able to connect to a medium, that connection can continue. And they will do what they can to have you become aware of that, to help you be supported in your grief. But they don't miss us the same way. They just don't, because some of them have said, "But I'm closer than I ever was." They are not limited by geography, work schedules, being physically tired, right? They don't have any of that. Those are all physical things. They have just a higher, say, understanding and awareness of what it means to be human and to have the grief process be a part of our life. And they do support us through that, but they just don't grieve the same way they actually, I don't have them ever come through and go, I grieve.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. I did have one spirit one time, though, say they really missed the flavors of fresh produce.
Okay.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Like, I mean, that's not equal to grief, but I do remember one of them being like, I really miss that, though. Like, I miss the human experience. And they were specifically talking about bell peppers.
Yeah.
And they're like biting into the crunchiness of a bell pepper. I really miss that, which I
Isn't
thought
that
was really
funny?
interesting. Yeah, yeah, it's so funny. Um, Okay, well, I really value all of your insights and your knowledge. Like, you just have so much knowledge, and I think we could tangent on anything and discover so many neat points. Um, but for you specifically, so coming back to the holidays, for you specifically, do you find that there is a moment or a really sacred time during the holidays? Like, I'll give you an example. For me, I find Christmas Eve, once everything is kind of set, everyone's gone to bed. It is my most favorite time to just sit up a little bit longer and sit by the tree. I find that moment of magic and the energy and the veil is like the most potent time for me to be able to tune in for anything. So I'm curious what your experiences of the holidays.
Christmas Eve is more charged, more sentimental for me than actually
Yeah.
Christmas Day. It's
Yes.
almost like there's a release, kind of like if you have a balloon full of air and then the air starts to deflate for me personally.
Hmm.
Because I think there's a lot of like personal hype, we're prepping, we're shopping, we're decorating, all of this preparation, and then everything just kind of settles. But I think in that preparation and everything that we as humans do to get ready for the holidays, I think there's something really meaningful in that. And for myself, now that my kids are, they're adults, I've got a 25-year-old, a 23-year-old, so it's different. Look, it looks different in my world now.
Yeah.
I think it's those moments of connection throughout the whole year, not just Christmas, that make it so, so meaningful. But it is Christmas Eve. I feel like I go back to those moments when I was a kid and we would stay up late.
Hmm.
And my mom was the best Christmas shopper ever. And we didn't have tons of money growing up, but she made it like we never knew, and she did the best stockings and it was incredible. And so there's lots of reminiscing, there's lots of nostalgia, and it was always the night before. And I think I tap
Hmm.
into that energy, and then Christmas comes and it goes, oh, well, that's over now.
Right.
So I find, especially as I get older, because I'm 45, right?
Yeah.
I like to pause now, especially because of 2025, everything that I've experienced, it's been like a reset. It's
Hmm.
pausing and slowing down and going back to memories, being in the stillness. And not only do I connect to my loved ones in the spirit world in moments like that, but then I also connect to my own spirit. And I think
Yes.
that that is so, so powerful that we keep that connection with our own spirit. Because if we do, it enhances our connection with those that we still care about who are
Mhm.
across the veil.
Absolutely. I think that's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank
All
you.
right. So, Courtney, do you have any offerings, courses, or things that are coming up for you in the new year or currently that you'd like to share?
Yeah. So for Christmas, I've had a couple of events. My last one is going to be Saturday, December 6th. Not sure when this is going to air. And it's a Christmas connection. It's a beautiful guided spiritual experience where I lead you through a beautiful spiritual journey for you to connect with your loved ones in spirit. No experience required. It's not necessary. We all have the ability to sense and feel spirit. And in the new year, we will be taking enrollment again. There will be a few spots coming up for my Mediumship Mastery Circle. We have Empowerment 1, 2, and 3. So, whatever level you're at, you can go check that out at mediumcourtneydawson.com. And in the spring, we have some new things coming up, but I can't release that yet. Stay
Oh, all
tuned. You can check
right.
out my socials and my website.
Yeah, and I'll have the links to all of that in the show notes. And I definitely recommend everyone to connect in with Courtney because she just, again, like the amount of wisdom you have, the practical knowledge and the understanding is just profound. And so
Mm,
you're such a beautiful light, but
thank
also like
you.
authenticity
You.
and empowered. Like you are definitely an empowered woman and it's just vibrant. And I love seeing that because I think to be empowered, to be divine feminine, but also speaking about the things you're speaking about, like that's a trifecta of
Mm.
amazingness. So I want to give you so much credit to this
Thank
beautiful
you.
light.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I honor you too. It's so
Oh,
great
thank
to be
you.
on your show again and to be able to connect with you and just to be a part of this time.
Yeah, amazing. All right, everyone. Thank you so much as always for joining us. And I look forward to connecting with you more. Definitely connect with Courtney as well. And I will see you all next week.